Goodbye YouTube, how's it going everybody? Got for y'all today a Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi battle yet again, and this time is going to be against Sebastian, and I believe I had this around maybe the third or fourth time I streamed, so if I forget some things I apologize, but I should remember most of it because I have rewatched it a couple times. Now looking at my team, I am abusing Swift Swim Kingdra along with Modest Choice Specs Politoed, which I actually really like. I like this combination, and in my opinion I don't think that Swift Swim plus Drizzle is going to get banned just because of how badly Weather got nerfed this generation. It only lasts 5 turns and 8 turns with the appropriate rock item. Like for example, if Politoed had the Damp Rock, Drizzle would last 8 turns instead of 5 turns. So I think that things like Excadrill and Kingdra will definitely like stay OU, although Kingdra was never OU, but this gen with Swift Swim being allowed with Drizzle, most likely it is going to go up to OU, and then Excadrill is probably going to stay in OU. But yeah, that's just my opinion. How do you guys feel about that? Do you like that Weather got nerfed? Do you think things are going to go up in usage, go down in usage? What do you think? Leave your comments down below. Anyways, I'm rambling, I apologize. I have Choice Specs Noivern, Mixed Life Formed Kingdra, Choice Specs Politoed, which is a monster, physically defensive Fortress, bulk up Concoder, which is going to put in some work in this battle, and then finally off sub-disable Gengar. Now looking at Sebastian's team, the only real 2 threats I saw were going to be that Starmie and Garchomp. Starmie because if I lose my Kingdra, the only other Pokemon on my team that outspeeds it is Noivern, and that's only if rain is up that Kingdra will be able to outspeed it. So I really have to watch out for that because nothing on my team really wants to switch into any attack coming from it. And then finally off, if that Garchomp turns out to be a sub-SD variant, could possibly sweep through my team after a substitute, which I'm thinking about really breeding and EV training a sub-SD Garchomp now because that thing always poses a threat to me. Anyways, he's going to be leading off with the Garchomp, as I'm going to be leading off with my Noivern. Right off the bat, I'm going to go straight for the Dragon Pulse. I do not want to mess around with this Garchomp, and I knew that I could get off a good amount of damage on whatever he decided to switch in. As he brings in the Rotom, I'm thinking that this might be a 2 KO depending on min-max, and unfortunately though, he lives on like literally 1 HP and is going to go for the Volt Switch. And the fact that I have Dragon Pulse is kind of a mistake on my part. I meant to put Draco Meteor on this, but I never did it, so my other best stab other than Hurricane is Dragon Pulse, which if I had gone for the Draco Meteor, I definitely would have been able to knock out that Rotom and prevented him from getting off damage on my Noivern. But I guess in the end it really isn't going to end up mattering too much, as he ends up going for the Stone Edge on my switch into the Concoder. I really thought he would go for the Pursuit or Stealth Rocks, but I guess maybe he doesn't have Pursuit, and I do have Fortress, which can spin away rocks, so I guess Stone Edge was his other better move to go for. As this turn I'm going to switch into my Fortress, just trying to get up my own hazards, and he's actually going to switch out into the Rotom, I guess just as death fodder to see what I wanted to do. Unfortunately though, this is now going to bait him to bring in the Mega Houndoom, and I do really want to keep my Fortress around for the remainder of this battle to possibly get up hazards to try to wear down his team. So I'm going to switch to my Politoed thinking, alright, I can easily take any move that this thing wants to go for. So he is going to end up turning out to be Mega Houndoom, because why else would you ever use a Houndoom in OU? There's really no other purpose to use it. And then he goes for Substitute, and I literally started panicking a little bit here because I knew that I am going to lose my Politoed, which means once my rain runs out, Kingdra will no longer outspeed Starmie, and I'm going to have to rely on my Noivern outspeeding Starmie, which means Starmie has just become an even bigger threat than it already was. He ends up getting a crit with the Dark Pulse, which I highly doubt mattered, just because he was at +2, and Mega Houndoom does have a very good special attack stat. So now I can bring in my Kingdra. Luckily I was able to get rid of the substitute because he did go for the nasty plot, and unfortunately I miss my Hydro Pump on the Gyarados, which means he's going to be able to live this Draco Meteor and waste a turn of my rain, as well as getting off a good amount of damage with this Earthquake, which really sucks because keeping Kingdra would have been nice to force switches, because a Hydro Pump, even not in rain, is still going to do a lot of damage coming from a rash-natured Kingdra. So I locked myself into Outrage because I didn't want to miss Hydro Pump or Draco Meteor as he brings in the Starmie. Obviously I have nothing to switch into this, so I really had no other choice but to fodder off my Kingdra. As I bring in my Noivern, I go for the U-turn and he stays in, and then this U-turn does nothing, which really had me thinking, okay, maybe he's a bulky Starmie. So I bring in my Fortress, which obviously I'm going to be able to easily live the Psychic as he gets leftovers. Alright, he is a bulky Starmie, which means it's not going to be hitting as hard as it could be, but it's still definitely going to be a problem problem. So I knew that I could take any other hit that he wanted to go for. So I'm going to stay in and go for the Volt Switch, and I'm going to switch back out into my Noivern. Much like the Garchomp, I cannot play around with this Starmie. What I should have done was just gone straight for the Hurricane, even though I probably would have missed. Getting off the huge damage on the Starmie would have been really great for me instead of going for the U-turn. So this turn I do go for the Dragon Pulse, and he predicts that, and he's going to bring in the Tyranitar. As you can see, nothing is really going good for me right now in this battle. And look at that. This is Choice Specs Noivern, which actually hits really damn hard, and Tyranitar just took that like it was nothing. So I'm going to switch into my Conkeldurr, hoping that he would just go for the Stone Edge again, but he actually ends up going for the Stealth Rocks, which really sucks, because now if I'm not able to spin them away, my Noivern will only be able to survive one more Stealth Rock switch in. So I'm going to stay in, and I'm going to make a bit of a risky play. I'm actually going to go for the Payback, predicting him to bring in the Starmie, thinking that I would want to go for a Bulk Up or a Drain Punch, and that is exactly what happens. This is just so helpful to me, because I'm literally going to be able to get rid of his #1 threat in the following turn, because I do have the Mach Punch and I am Adamant Max Attack, and that is going to be able to easily knock out the Starmie. So one giant ass threat is out of the way. Unfortunately, I still kind of have to watch out for that Garchomp, which could still maybe turn out to be a sub SD variant. So he's going to bring in the Garchomp. I'm going to make a very risky play this turn, and I'm actually going to switch into my Fortress, because if he had been a sub SD variant, the battle would have been over right here. Luckily though, he ends up going straight for the Outrage, and I knew at this point in the battle that my win condition was definitely going to be my Conkeldurr, so I really have to keep that around and find some way to bring it in on the Tyranitar to start setting up bulk ups. So he's going to be able to knock me out with 2 Outrages, and I actually thought I would be able to live the second one, I guess maybe depending on min-max, and I was going to try to spin away the Stealth Rocks, although he does have Rough Skin, so maybe I should have gone for the Stealth Rocks of my own. As I said, this was a bit of an old battle, so I don't know if I did Rapid Spin or Stealth Rocks. Either way, I bring in my Noivern, and I make another stupid play, and I go for the Dragon Pulse. What I should have done was gone for the Switcheroo, because if I had been able to switch off my Choice Specs on this Tyranitar, I would have been able to prevent him from being able to switch up moves. As he goes for the Earthquake, I'm not really too sure why. I'm thinking maybe he thought it would roost or switch out. I don't really know. In the end, it doesn't really end up mattering, as I'm able to get off some good amount of damage with the Dragon Pulse. Also, maybe he thought that I would be able to knock him out with another Dragon Pulse, which is why he EQ'd. Either way, in the end, it doesn't really matter that he EQ'd or anything, because he still lived, and this is my perfect #1 opportunity to bring in my Conkeldurr. I'm hoping that he does not end up getting the defense drops, because I need to get up to at least +2 defense to be able to take a hit from a possibly choice banded Garchomp. So I'm going to go for my first bulk up. He is then going to go for the Earthquake, which luckily does not do a lot of damage. I'm going to be able to get up my second bulk up, and at this point I'm in a very favorable position. I can now take any hit from the Garchomp. I have Mach Punch for the Houndoom. His only way to win this battle is to basically be able to get a crit with Garchomp. So I'm going to be able to knock out the Tyranitar. Even though he had Chapel Berry, he was around like maybe 5% HP, so yeah, that easily got knocked out. He's then going to bring in the Mega Houndoom, which, I mean, it really wouldn't have mattered if he brought in Garchomp first, as you're going to see. So I knock him out with the Mach Punch, and at this point it all comes down to whether or not he gets a crit. Although then again, I do still have my Gengar, which can easily disable any move that he wants to go for. It's just really in my favor, although I was really fearing the fact that he would crit me. Also, he might turn out to be Scarfed or something, knowing my luck, and could outspeed my Gengar. Either way, I'm able to live, get off a massive amount of damage with the Drain Punch. I was actually really surprised at a +2 I didn't knock out Garchomp. That just goes to show you how bulky Garchomp really is. And then I'm going to go for the Mach Punch, not wanting to mess around, and that's going to be the victory in my favor. So yeah, that was definitely a fun, close, intense battle. I was actually really worried when I saw that Houndoom ended up going for Substitute and then turning out to be Nasty Plot, because I thought at that point in the battle I already lost, because Starmie was just such a huge problem to my team. And then after getting rid of that, I still had to worry about the Garchomp. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the battle. If you did, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to some more content. If you missed my previous upload, which was a PS Live, a link to that should be on your screen right now. Just click the video, you guys can go watch that. And with that, I will hopefully be seeing you guys tomorrow.